But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right, welcome to the 199th episode of the World Blockchain Roundtable. Sean showed up last minute. It's awesome. Sorry we're running a little bit late, but we had to get things up.
We're always on our time. Not on time, but our time.
There you go. That's how it works.
We do that so we can go over in time, but not go over in time.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? I'm in the future.
We have to fit everything into 2 hours in case anybody doesn't know out there, so that it can replay without editing it, because we don't.
Now on the clock, it looks like we're going over 2 hours, so we satisfy that chaos monster inside of us.
There we go. There we go. And we don't like edits. You know, there's no 7-second delay on the show, so apologies for what you're about to witness. But either way, today on the panel,
no damn hell 7-second delay.
Yes. We have on the panel today, I am the Emperor, who actually we all are blessed with his presence on this Ides of March, a fateful and scary day for him, I'm sure.
In 2 days, it's March 15th.
It's weird. I think their months were different, weren't they? I've heard, because I need to look it back up. It's been a while, but there's a March Ides, there's a May Ides, and I believe there's a July Ides, and I don't understand what an Ides is because I don't remember any of that. But
there were festivals,
the middle,
all of that kind of thing, but they took out Julius Caesar, is what is well known for.
Yep.
So.
And also, by the way, did the story exist before Shakespeare, or did he bring that into the story, or did he create that element in the story? That's a question we should ask.
Do you know how many Caesars or emperors there were of Rome?
A lot.
There were too many.
I had a thought last night. I know every Star Trek episode, and there's like 1,000 or something, but I don't know how many emperors of Rome there were, and I felt stupid last night.
Let's see. I just I misspelled
theoretically.
It. Right.
There's still the Roman emperors still exist.
Finding the edges is going to be the hard question.
The number is from 70 to 90, depending upon what you include. And if you go beyond, if you talk about the Eastern Roman Empire, then it's well beyond 100. And by the way, apparently the Byzantine Empire, Byzantium, I think, right? Lasted
Who's nominally
longer
the Holy
than
Roman Emperor right now? Has the Pope declared one?
For various reasons. Anyway,
well, I've interrupted everyone's introduction.
Does anybody know if there's a Holy Roman Emperor now? Does it still exist?
I know is I'm the first emperor of social media.
Because if that's the case, then they would you could probably argue also that the line unbroken of Holy Roman emperors are in fact the line of Rome.
Yeah, I know that the pontiff title was the original title. That was a religious title that Caesar did get before he became emperor, and it is continued on to the current Roman Pope. So anyway, also we have Greg today. Is there any special thing today? We can talk about Greg for anyway. So we have Greg today, and we have Zach. Andrew's out today, I believe. Family stuff going on, and we have Satoshi Sean, who's also blessed our presence. We need to see more of you, Sean. So
and a shout out to Lisa.
Andrew's in the comments.
Lisa's giving a speech, right?
She's up there with the American geese.
Nice.
She migrated north while they migrated south.
State delegation.
He's going to change I heard Trump's going to change the name of Canadian geese to American geese.
Oh, they have to switch when they fly over the border, maybe, right?
I can't wait to watch a whole bunch of people who are up in their own asses about names and words.
Isn't it odd?
Resisting this.
Isn't Canadian geese illegal though?
Well, isn't it odd how rude Canadian geese are, given that Canadians themselves are so polite, right?
They're gangsters.
Anyway,
geese are fucking evil, man. We should just extinct them.
Geese are rough.
No, don't hurt my family. Don't hurt my family. That's my family right there.
It was
the Goose Gang.
Okay.
All right. A quick update on the WBRT layer ownership tokens, the lot NFTs distribution from last week's episode, which was, I think, episode 198, which should be crowned as the greatest World Blockchain Roundtable episode that we've ever had. So, but there you go. So thanks for that recommendation or suggestion that got voted in for the show. William, I am Emperor. It was a good show.
It's a cool fucking idea, because usually promoting ideas and trying to come up with solutions is a subtext of this show as opposed to an overt part of it. And it was neat to have it to be just overt.
Well, and I think too, we got I don't know. When I was watching on Twitter, when I saw it replay, I think it was relatively attractive titling, because if it is solve a problem with blockchain in 60 seconds or less. Yeah. That's a good thing, and I think we actually did. It's a top level.
We didn't even.
Stuff,
you can do that show every day.
Bingo.
That's actually if you can name a problem, then there's pretty much nothing out there that can't be improved. And if you can think about blockchain critically, you can also think of ways to use it to improve things.
Yep,
definitely.
I like it.
Yeah, there's dude, you still have my mind is racing with the Goose Gang. That should have been me and my friend's names in junior high. That's like what we did during lunch. It's just goose chicks. But
that's certainly a morality minute.
I would have been more appropriate. 11-year-old kid grabbing a girl's butt now. If me and my friends did the stuff today that we did in like the 80s, we would be arrested.
The whole 80s would get me too.
Yeah, but so I don't know if you guys saw the crypto meme review, but I made a meme because Rachel Maddow just infuriated me. I even put these glasses on so I would feel more comfortable making fun of her. But that Tony from LC Signs. The Chinese guy sells signs, and he makes fun of social media people. And
I don't. I don't.
Oh well, just Google it and have a nice hour or so of laughing your ass off. This guy's selling tons of signs, but she said, "I don't want to give you a big lecture and course on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology because don't care, don't need it. It's stupid. But I just want to talk about what this huge old scam it all is and how it all leads right back to the White House." And she grouped in, just blockchain, with Hawk to a coin, it all in one thing. It's all threw out the baby, the bathwater, everything, and then make it fit her agenda. You know what I mean? It's
a good thing nobody's listening to her anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many grandmas and grandpas and my
entire viewership
my
is
dad
the TSA.
and his family, and that's their hero. That's their champion is Rachel Maddow.
Ugh.
House full of old folks in Minnesota, man. They're just.
I don't believe that either. But either way,
I bet she smells bad. Just like if you're ever in her presence, I bet she just kind of stinks a little.
Jeez. Man.
She looks like she.
I had to get in a few things because
I hope I'm not in there.
It made no sense at all. It's funny. That's how it works, though. that, let's see here. I'm going to interrupt my own updates because Geese got me thinking of this. Geese got Sean thinking of high school goosing
junior high
Maddow, junior high, and then Rachel Maddow.
And I was in Europe.
You're gonna love this goose
one
story though.
is,
every day I go to work,
I don't know,
nothing but geese, nothing but geese all over the campus. They run that.
We removed John as the
geese?
MC of the roundtable. So this is, I don't know if we covered this because I don't know if it was resolved last week, but it is not on a. It is not a. It was unanimous. But is this called a plurality? Is that, I think, what this is called? Where we didn't get a majority vote. So it could be contested. And I don't know what the equivalent of losing an MC spot is on a DAO-based podcast, but we can issue a death of MC or, something equivalent that he could take to his bank or for next of kin or whatever else matters. We do still believe that he's probably lost in the tunnels and, he will probably find his way out. There's plenty to eat down there, I'm sure. It's New York after all, right?
Didn't this vote take place in February? So it would be the Ides of MC February?
Yes, maybe so. So we are without a leader now, without a direct and consistent, we've been all acting as such all this time, but now we have to probably decide, how we want to handle
an international rules-based order.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
I think we should just randomly grab some person off of the street and put them in front of the microphone and
bling bling.
Yeah.
We need to find bling bling.
This was the vote. Sorry. I thought I had it on the screen, but I did not. It was unanimous, but only 37%.
Wow, look at those assassins.
Yeah. Oh, at two, Lisa.
The Ides of March.
So,
yeah.
But you see that William, who is the emperor, well, he's not probably going to be the emperor of the round.
It's a conflict of interest, I believe.
It might be. I don't know. I'm joking. Anyway, so to finish it out,
Andrew's the emperor of the round
table. It was a great show last week. 133 lot to the panelists.
Oh, interesting.
55 lot to each topic contributor. And last week's theme was William, who will get 55 lot. I don't know. William's going to take over just by participation score alone. So, I think 1,000 points to William right at the beginning of the show.
First, the World Blockchain Roundtable.
Yep. Governance votes are most important. And I would like to see, I don't know how we do it, but it would be nice if we could integrate that solutions mentality into every show. And if you guys have any ideas, I don't know if it would be a bonus for anybody who within their 60 seconds can answer the question and provide a solution. Or maybe that's your mode. You just provide a solution. Well, here's how you'd fix that, right? Or whatever else, right?
Yeah.
That would probably be a good way to do it. Maybe to each his own, right? Maybe it's just, whatever works. But I don't know. It just felt like anybody watching would have gotten some really good info last week, and it wouldn't have just been, silly stuff, or not that it is silly stuff, but anyway. All right. Let's see here.
Silly stuff. I sent that video to the chat and Telegram.
Nice.
Hilarious.
What video is it?
Interesting thing.
You can see it's Rachel Maddow one. You can download it and put it on if you want to.
Cool.
Later.
I don't know. Let's see. Now you tell me later if you want to do it. I'll do it.
I've looked into Ides a moment here just to see what the deal is with this word, and it is a plural. So there's a single Ide. You get this from the Latin idus, which was just a way of reckoning about weeks. So imagine if today we had week 1 through 4, right? The 9th day was the nones, and the nones preceded the ides, which is probably how they would have pronounced it. If you're gonna guess, they pronounce closer to Latin. So that's just the name they have for the second week, or the beginning of the second week, and the 15th was March, along with some other months, but it was often the 13th.
Yep. Yeah,
that's because they reckon time a little differently. But in March particularly, it is the 15th of March.
Right on. Okay, let's see here.
Yeah.
That is good. That is good. So, next update, April theme suggestions. So let's guess who has the most suggestions. I'm joking. Let's see here. I am to head it right off. What if blockchain became a religion or cult? This
we are
would
a
be
cult.
fun. Yeah,
we're already a cult.
But declared, like not just
declared.
Yeah.
You know, like we would actually be let's say government recognized, right? It's like I need
And
the
notice
government
the
to
blocks
recognize
here with
my
the
legal
Druids.
state. Yeah,
We got blocks there.
Exactly.
Yep.
So who is in this recognized cult? Who would be Jim Jones?
I'm just.
I think we wouldn't have a Jim. We would all be each other's as Jim Jones.
I want to be the guy from Heaven's Gate.
Oh my.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
I probably more look like him than anybody. I got the.
I don't know. I don't know if you can do the eyes. Here, let's.
No,
I don't know.
So. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, all right. Next, Dayrox. Yes, this will be an interesting topic. Oh, sorry. An answer to you. Okay, Dayrox theme: wallet security in the quantum computer age.
That's a good.
It's all computer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. That's a good one. And actually, I will tell you, that's a very important one, especially when new people are coming into crypto.
Yeah.
This is the part that is most dangerous if you get a large influx of people, because there'll be a lot of people, a lot of excitement, and they don't know this, and this is the thing they should know. So anyway,
well, and
just
the neat thing about go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and just to get like a little tidbit, me and Andrew on our Legacy News episode 42 we released for Crypto Wednesday, we kind of discussed a little bit breaking Monero with security and on a decentralized, centralized means, essentially. So
also, if you've been around a while, it's shocking to me the speed at which quantum computing is moving. I mean, literally, I remember 5-6 years ago, it was a kind of a joke. And then like 3-4 years ago, it was like, well, not for like in our lifetime, but they're getting close. You know, it's gonna, but not in our lifetime. And now it's like, technically we have it. It's kind of mind blowing.
Well, two things about that is people always underestimate the pace of change, right? Like if you ascribe to the idea of accelerating returns, that we use the tools from the latest generation of technology to build the tools to build the next generation, then everything just gets sort of incomprehensibly faster at every recursion, right? Yep. So maybe 10 years ago we were 10 years away, but 9 years ago we were 5, right? Like because it just moves faster than time.
Well, do you remember how boring stuff was in the 80s and 90s? I mean, man.
The second thing to remember too,
I wish we were back there.
Quantum is a practical solution. Like we literally have the algorithms we need. People just need to implement them. And it's really going to be a lot more like a Y2K style, like bug fix project.
Things do move really fast when you're in a simulation. That's true.
That is true.
Yeah, you know the problem is that fucker pushed the turbo button on his 386 Intel box that we're simulated in.
Dude, I hope they would have a fucking turbo button on the quantum computer. That would suck.
286, 386, and then Mission Impossible. I remember Ving Rhames. These are the new 486s.
So what I want to know is, how does air pressure induce anything in a computer? Like I want to know how a turbo does this any good, because I feel like you can't like is it a forced induction engine now in there running
the number
it,
on the front. There's
what's going on?
7-segment display. It changed the number, so anyway, all right.
Every time I see turbo, I'm like, where's the engine? I didn't know I had to put gas in it.
Also from IM4IM. Blockchain meets Main Street with tokenized assets.
Oh, you got to show the images here.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Yeah.
I took it away because we went longer.
I know. I'm
Wait, so yeah, blockchain meets Main Street with tokenized assets. Good stuff. Also, how a government can use blockchain to manage tariffs. And Theme repeat. Current news topic with a blockchain solution. I do like it. And stablecoin surge. Invest in stablecoins, guys.
Break even.
Invest in Tether.
Always down.
You
Just
think
kidding.
there'd be
Awesome.
some index
Year
on
over
the
year.
amount of Tether generated or something, right? I expect them. Bitcoin's going down. They're going to print a bunch more Tether so that it won't go down.
Someone should offset the peg
Okay.
by pre-inflation numbers and only issue enough stablecoin to match the supply of 1913.
Yep.
This image I think is kind of interesting. Is it a bird without a head? I don't understand what AI did here with the
Bird
photo.
without a head.
I see the.
That is
what
a bird
is
without a head.
Isn't it kind of strange, right?
Oh, it's one of those like let's say you went to some eagle sanctuary, you would put your head in there, they take a picture of it.
I see the head.
yeah.
I see the head.
I need a
It looks
Gensler.
actually like a very stamped coin. If you look at that eye and then the bill is there, it looks like a.
What's the USDDT?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know. AI is funny,
USDT is
It's the
USDDT.
digital reserve.
USDT
Tether.
and USDDT. Oh.
Look at that dollar bill below it too. This is funny when you don't look at it. It's
That
like,
bird's
I love
dead,
it when
man. Its
AI
eggs are
yeah.
going to get crushed.
all right. Anyway,
Sorry.
so that's all of the. So make sure you go in and
DDT
any
Eagle.
suggestion you might want. Vote is next week. We'll have set up for April, the best month, Satoshi's birthday month.
Nice.
Flowers are out. It's nice out. You go outside now and everything. Anyway, okay. This week's episode is blockchain discussion about the new SEC chair and Crypto Czar. And I'll do a quick audible. We'll do a natural, organic expansion to include the acting SEC chair. We can include anything about the incoming unconfirmed SEC chair as well, but and probably also with the acting SEC chair and the crypto task force, including Hester Pierce. We can include all of them in this.
Yes.
It's late for questions because I'm about to refresh.
So
while I
quick
refresh, make sure you
guys,
share.
quick audible. I just want to get everybody's impression of this because, like, can everyone see this?
Inflation calculator.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Check out the number for the dollar.
Wait a minute.
For
let
$1
me do this.
it's upside down. That's why.
No, it was right. It was right.
It was right.
It fixed itself. Inflation calculator.
3,000%, 3,100%.
Sounds
this-
low to me.
Sounds about right.
So basically, one $1913 should be pegged at $32.23 today. So you have to figure out the algorithm, manipulate the supply, and we can have a $1913 stablecoin. I'm not opposed to that idea.
I'm not either.
Yeah. That would be,
Although it would have to be algorithmically adjusted to ongoing inflation if you wanted to keep it there.
Yeah. By whose numbers though? The CPI
that was
could be a lie too.
that wasn't CPI based. That was an aggregate of. I think that was PCE. We should probably modify that to go with the 1980s measure, or we should improve the measure, because or rather the pre-1980s measure, because that was the one that was like the least, doctored as far as we know. I'm sure they probably doctored it in the past before they had to report when they were doctoring the models, but we can figure out a better inflation metric. In fact, Shadow Stats.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
If you've ever been to Shadow Stats, go there. Use their metric for inflation, and
they're the ones that show you when they adjust it, they'll show you the old one, and you can even use the one from way back to see what the real inflation numbers are. Right. That's a good
and they'll plot them on the same line map, so you can actually see how the adjusted inflation metrics alter the.
Here's a suggestion. Why would if it were me? Because I remember looking at that back in the 2000s, early 2000s, even. I remember looking at when Clinton was president, right? Just seeing because they changed the way what they include and stuff, so they can kind of control the numbers. Why wouldn't Doge hire those people that have that website to let's use that as the way that we do all metrics, and it's gonna I'm sure Trump wouldn't like that, but either way, it would be interesting. So okay, so I'm gonna refresh again. I can't remember if I refreshed, so apologies if I already did that. We'll go to questions. Is that all right? You guys all ready?
We're good.
All right. By the way, episode 199. Should we do anything special for episode 200? Do we care about even zero numbers or no? I mean, that's almost 4 years. We could actually have a celebration on the 200, and we can have a celebration on whichever would be the actual 4 years. That's what.
Yeah. Maybe we should do like a X space afterwards or something. Just let anybody who wants to come hang out with us and talk about the last 200 episodes.
Yes.
So maybe we should get drunk on 200.
We can't interrupt people here anymore when we're in questions. Sorry, William. But we could have a space that runs concurrently where you can go over there and talk shit on whoever's saying something here. that would be awesome, right? And yet, which one do you listen to? Which one? Anyway.
Look at this guy.
All right. Okay. So first off, and I did, by the way, vote this one up because it's a good summary. So this is on the far right is incoming. Is it Stephen Adkins? Incoming.
Paul S. Adkins.
Yes. Paul S. Adkins, inventor of the diet. So he's well placed to be head of the SEC. And Uesca, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who's the acting SEC chair, is in the middle here. It's like this is the Brady Bunch.
Ueda.
And
it's Ueda.
Hester, Ueda, sorry.
Mark
Ueda.
They all have hard names to pronounce, actually.
Hester Pierce has it's easy to pronounce, but a weirdly spelled
Hester Pierce is actually how it's pronounced.
Really?
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hester Pierce.
That's strange because it's I before E except after whatever and whatever and whatever. Anyway, so Hester Pierce, who is on also these two are on the SEC Crypto Task Force, and then we don't have a picture here of
the Czar, David Sachs.
David Sachs. But anyway, okay. So who is Hester Pierce? Hester Maria Pierce. Is that correct? Is an American lawyer, lawyer. Wait, what do attorneys prefer? Lawyer or attorney? What's proper? Why are
it's going to depend on how they style themselves, right? Like
it seems that they've let all
honorific Esquire.
There aren't attorney jokes, but there are lawyer jokes. So maybe the lawyer is the negative term more taken.
My dad preferred attorney.
Yeah, I think they all do. Which is why I refuse to use the word. Who serves as commissioner of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm joking. She previously served as the director of the Financial Markets Working Group at George Mason University's Mercatus Center. Pierce was confirmed by the United States Senate in December 2017. What a month was December 2017 to fill a Republican vacancy on the SEC. That's probably why she's our friend. She came in at such a glorious time and saw how people around her killed it. Probably would get anyone on the right side of the law. She was sworn in on January 11, 2018. Also a great month for a term ending in 2020. And her second term expires in 2025. May she reign forever. But here's the thing. January 11th, 2018 is only 2 weeks before we got our letter at Dragon Chain from the SEC. And they sent it to freaking everybody at Dragon Chain. It was like, I think we had an intern who got this letter and came in crying.
What a bunch of fucking dicks. Sorry. That's just rude. Interns don't need to see that shit.
Yeah. No. She is also known as the Crypto Mom. Okay. Who is Mark? Okay. Say it again. Ueda? Ueda. Mark Toshiro Ueda is, and that's the key. You just pronounce it quickly, and it sounds a little more close. Correct. American attorney. So see, look, this is interesting. I think that I don't know your news source here, right? But Hester Pierce being a lawyer, but Ueda being
an attorney
is an interesting
point. Also Wikipedia sources
and government official. That's definite negative. A member of the Republican Party, up in the air as to whether that's any valuable thing or not. Ueda has served as commissioner of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission since June 30, 2022. So he has a little bit less blood on his hands. A little less. I will say. He came then after we got the vote where they came after us in full where they sued us, right? Which is the lawsuit we're still under. Before becoming an SEC commissioner who had served on the staff of the SEC for more than 50 years. All right, I take back everything I said.
He's all internal. He's all been.
Yeah, he might be
within.
worse. He saw how the sausage was made, and he has remained, and he's taken over. So I don't know. Maybe
I don't know if he's taken over so much as they had to appoint a chair.
I will say I don't think I could last. I am a bit impatient. I have not lasted at many places that needed it. When you see the way the sausage is made, you either figure out, okay, I'm going to see if I can solve it or not. And you very quickly figure out whether or not you can solve it. And that's when you say, and so there are two questions about him. He was there. He saw the sausage made. He might have tried to solve it or not, but he progressed through the ranks. He stayed, maybe very persistent. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to make a crypto task force and destroy the tyranny. So maybe that's it. You had to serve.
Also a good sign that he didn't leave of his own accord, which a lot of the other criminals did.
Yeah. Oh, he's the first Asian Pacific American to serve as a commissioner of the SEC. So is it only Asia Pacific or is it Asian entirely?
Yeah.
Take
it up with Wikipedia.
That's a good thing. That's a good
There's
thing.
probably like no proof he met with SBF on the record, which is probably why they left him there.
Well, and if you ask me, you know what it probably was? It's probably like any other crypto project that someone on staff, when they're brainstorming, is what can we do for Asia markets? I'm joking. So that you bring in someone that
poor SBF. He's the new Ross Ulbricht.
Yes.
Who knows? He may have been more on the stock and the equity side and not on the crypto side too during those 15 years.
And I think acting chairs should be capitalized, but that's just a fine point. But you can
I
get
want
it
to
for free.
excommunicate him from crypto. Honestly, it's time to start calling him a derivatives trader.
Truly, he's just a Goldman Sachs dude, right? I don't even know.
Yeah, he's a derivatives guy.
He's not a crypto.
He didn't build houses during the housing crisis either, but he could have worked at Lehman Brothers.
He can play video games while he's on his conference calls. He's a genius. I tell you, he made millions of dollars in arbitrage.
Wait, you mean you can be an asshole and people will think you're smart for it?
I don't know. It's just the whole thing was fake, and it's so obvious. It's like how Bill Gates came about. How any whiz kid from the past 30 years it was all fake. So.
By the way, Tucker Carlson interviewed him recently from prison.
That was my joke.
Yeah, saw that.
He's being framed as the new Ross Ulbricht.
I refuse to watch it.
Guess we're gonna have to violate him for suing our.
I'm gonna say something that I don't think a lot of people will like. In some cases, this is put to good, but I think Tucker does have a monetization there. I think he does get paid for who he shows. I don't know that. It's a guess, really, but. Seems to fit either way. Paul Atkins, American businessman who's been nominated by President Donald Trump to serve as the chair of the SEC, which he previously served on from 2002 to 2008. I didn't know that. Known for advocating reduced regulatory burdens and promoting financial innovation. God bless him. Atkins has been a vocal supporter of free market principles and regulatory policy. He's yet to be confirmed. I don't know how the schedule works on that stuff. His confirmation is stuck, in Senate limbo. The crypto community wants answers now. What's the holdup, we wonder? Which subject are you talking about these days? Well, it turns out, logjam of confirmation hearings, 9 cabinet members in line ahead of Atkins. No one knows exactly when his turn will come. Why it's taking so long?
They're trying to keep Doge compliers out of office, is what they're doing.
Yeah,
they don't want someone to go in there and be like, "Hey, Elon, come in and read this fucking file I just found."
Yeah, they're probably
what it is. They're trying to bog it down to make sure that the process is slow.
That's also why we don't know anything more.
They need more time to destroy documents, man. Yeah, they need more time to destroy documents.
Okay, so that was a good. I don't know if we have anything on the
David Sachs.
Yeah,
I didn't look into him. I didn't go there.
I know David Sachs
VC,
actually,
right?
Not personally, but I've read the story of PayPal that it was called The Founders, I think.
Yeah.
David Sachs is actually, to me, an astute choice for this, because the role he played at PayPal was finding ways to make rethinking how we did fraud detection, not violate the user experience.
That's awesome.
So, and it was based on like, okay, we have this technology, we have these old ways of doing things. How do we do it differently so that we can actually get better at catching fraud and also make the user experience better, right? Because it was really about stopping scammers. If we actually had somebody in charge of crypto policy that was aimed at facilitating the stopping of scammers, I think that's sort of an ideal choice. Although, I worry that David Sachs has maybe been around finance for too long to remember his old self and actually come in and disrupt the way it's done, rather than trying to find a way to make crypto conform to current modes of thinking about fraud. Because we can actually probably find a way to use blockchain to really win better at the way we do it, to actually stop illicit financial flows rather than just blanket punish people with mass surveillance.
True. He is hyper focused on stable coins and rolling that into the picture. So that concerns me.
I mean, it's a banking thing. I don't know why anybody is. I remember, and you know, because there's some pretty good projects that are stable coins, good people and stuff. I've known some, but I never understood why we need. You know, I can understand. You know, and variety's good. So if it's for that reason, sure. The only reason I ever understood, maybe I'm totally missing something, was to trade out, because you can't trade out to real US dollar quickly because you know, there's the technical bits, but to trade out to another crypto that is at least designed, well, whether or not it's backed or whether or not, you know, how sound it is, designed to hold that dollar, and then you can come back in when they go up. Is there any other?
It's a way for them to reassess their budget sheets, because all these banks, they're all bankrupt. They just don't want you to know about it. So it's to stabilize their inevitable.
The problem is, it would be you'd be able to
the
prove
notional value
of
bonds is how they get away with it.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I will tell you, I do know the real reason is to pump Bitcoin, because they can print up $2 or $4 billion worth of US tether.
Yep.
Right, and then just call Larry Fink and whoever the fuck else, Jamie Dimon, and say, okay, turn back on the buying spigot over at your freaking ETFs. We'll start promoting them to people again in the meetings where we do fucking retirement account planning.
The problem with all of the banks is you can't, if you're building something like that with the banks, you can't actually trust them at the highest levels anyway. So, you know, really, if they wanted to pump Bitcoin, they would just force the banks to not be printing paper and selling it as Bitcoin, because, you know, that's what you have to imagine. It's like, anyway, okay. Next,
they should be required to keep one-to-one mappings between every single ETF unit sold and every token they own. And it should have to sell when those sell, and they should have to buy when those buy, and it should be programmatic.
Yep, and it should be and that's the thing. How hard would it be to make it transparent? Right. Anyway, okay, let's see here.
Give us the.
We are going to do. Okay, I have the numbers ready. Question from Dayrox: how do you explain the falling prices despite all the positive news? Is Gary selling? Okay, I'm going to have Sean go first.
Manipulation. We're used to manipulation in the market, but there's so much big money that hasn't been around before. So it's still a small market overall, but not to retail investors anymore. Like to retail investors, it's big. And, you know, like you've always warned about, we've given control to these people who have so much money that this is still a plaything and easy to manipulate. And they're good at it.
Nice. All right, Zach.
I'm going to piggyback on that, because it is manipulation, and what they're doing is they're selling off all these big asset firms. They're selling off, they're buying, they're strategically, I'm going to use the word, they're strategically creating a reserve, and that's massively manipulating the market in crypto. So
I do agree too. Greg.
Okay, well, the way to think about this is, you know, very difficult because prices are subjective, right? Prices are all like there's no such thing as an objective value to a thing. There is only what people think it's worth. And a lot of times in assets like this, it has to do with just like pure maths, supply versus demand. So you see somebody sell something, right? This is clearly just a dump. Where it's being sold from, who is selling it, and why are tough questions to answer because those things are idiosyncratic and local, and I would be willing to bet institutionally driven. You know, like as I understand it, a whole bunch of the ETF holders or the ETF funds that hold those accounts did a big dump, and it threw the market for a loop, and that's where we sit now.
Yep. William,
All right.
sorry, my screen's covered.
I'm going to go with a completely different answer. The small blockers invited Wall Street into the party, and now your crypto markets, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, are so tied to Wall Street that if Wall Street gets the cold, then the crypto market's going to get the flu. And so the libertarian viewpoint and reason for crypto to exist when it was originally, put out there to the world has been lost. And so you reap what you sow. You invite these people to your party, well, you're going to take their hits when they take their hits, which their market is manipulated. Therefore, they're manipulating the crypto market.
Yep. Very good. And I would say I agree. I agree totally with what you guys all said. I mean, the manipulation is what's causing issues. And, part of the manipulation is printing paper, Bitcoin. I do believe, they do it with gold. They do it with silver. You don't think they'll do it with Bitcoin?
What an ETF is.
They should be showing reserves, proving them, and I don't know, various other things. I mean, how do you fix this, right? For one, you don't invite institutional money in. We're building a new system. We don't need the banks. The only reason you want the banks is because you want the number to go up. And guess what? It's going to go up for them. But
you want the number to go up quickly. That's what I've learned from listening to you. It's like if you would just focus on what you're supposed to focus on, it takes care of itself.
Yep.
So it
and
will
better,
go
more
up.
Solid foundation. It's something real. It's not just going to jump up and then
But
drop
if you
off.
want to jump up quickly, that's when you.
And I tell you, if and when, and I do believe it's more of a when, crypto starts actually producing real world applications, and we're unfettered. We don't have the freaking government coming after us for competing against Jamie Dimon. That this market is going to blow away venture capital. It is going to blow away banking, and they'll be obviously not even the focus. That it's everything. It's like, how can we improve this by?
And that's because it'll blow away not the ability to be a venture capitalist. It's just that it will democratize it to everybody.
Exactly.
So that you can work with a project, a team, to build a venture fund on your own with like thousands of other people, so that you can get to the level of like, they have maybe like 10 limited partners in your typical venture fund. Maybe up to 50, maybe 100, but like pretty small numbers. You scale that out to the internet and just expect people to not be able to invest as much. You can still get to the huge numbers you need to do a big startup.
And I would say another thing, a philosophical side is, the real fix to this and many other things is to bring back honor and consequences for dishonor, right? That is, people who have been in there who are like, oh, luckily Gary's not there anymore. Gary just got away with what he did, the traitorous slob that he is. That's a problem in the world, and that's why. And you could think the same thing. How many times has Jamie Dimon and his gang made billions and took a $25 million fine? That is not a consequence that is meaningful. That is essentially a path forward for doing business for them. It's like, shit, yes, you don't think these guys are going to make $4 billion and knowing that they're going to get a $25 million fine. Anyway,
I think
It's a
Right.
bad
Oh, yeah,
thing.
no,
but ultimately
exactly.
the key there is and I follow the same trap that you do, is you get angry and you want harsh consequences, like get the rope. I think we should. I honestly believe we should start killing people for like
Bank fraud.
corruption and things like on
It-
high levels. It should be scary. But
Yes.
just the fact that if we had any consequences, there's so many people that's
the
like,
problem
they had to
is-
resign. And that was back in the day. They had to resign. Now it's not even that. I mean,
Well,
if you commit a
is-
crime, you should do. But you have this thing. I don't know if you guys heard this yesterday, but it scared me. I'm against it. It's a Trump thing. It's not going to make me popular. But this reporter said they're talking about making protesters and people that like do stuff to Tesla, because they're going to Tesla dealerships and like
Domestic
breaking windows.
terrorists,
Yeah,
yeah.
to make it domestic terrorism.
Well,
And Trump's like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, no.
suppose though
You're-
this actually doesn't need change in law in order to classify that as domestic terrorism properly.
I mean, yeah, and
Because-
I even thought of that afterwards. But I'm like, dude, if somebody breaks a window in a car lot, you can arrest them for that.
It's already there.
Just
Well,
have
only
laws,
if they're
enforce the
doing
laws
it
and consequences. Because if you start
political
doing that, that's just
purposes.
more power.
This is why
to
law has
government.
become meaningless. There
is no law.
Yeah, there is no law. It's all meaningless. It's all subjective. It depends on what the judge thinks, and before that, it depends whether the prosecutor is crossed by what you did.
it. That's
So
it.
it's stupid. It is probably one of the worst systems that could have been developed. And I don't know. It
Yeah,
sucks.
But
oh,
that's
no,
why
this-
Soros
this- do you guys
put so
wanna-
much
do you
money
guys wanna hear
into
my,
getting
fix
local
for the
DAs
legal
and
system here?
Control over local DAs.
Mhm.
That's why.
Yes.
Like it all comes to fruition. You can see
Yeah.
the plan now.
Yep.
Do you guys want to hear my my
Yes.
solution to this?
Yes.
We already have laws on the books for property crime. People should
Mm-hmm.
be arrested for that, and then during sentencing, when they consider extenuating circumstances to either enhance or mitigate a sentence, take into account the fact that it was for political purposes and amplify it accordingly.
Yep.
Like that would be the way to do it without writing a new law.
And it'd be natural, it'd be organic, and it would represent what the people are wanting and not what some politician or bureaucrats want,
Right.
which is how everything works now.
Imagine
Exactly.
so a little controversy here. Imagine if they did that for sexual assault. What if they just did an assault charge, not something you have to substantiate more than an offensive or harmful touch, right? You don't have to get into personal details. No accusations have to be weird. And then sentence enhance based on what the actual events were.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, that's,
You wouldn't even have to have
So,
this
are you saying
controversial,
that
special class of
sentencing
crime.
goes to the jury now? The sentencing decision goes to the jury, not the judge? Because the judge is looking at the law, and the law says, well, this crime fits a 10 to
federal
15 year
courts,
sentence.
Federal courts are more like that. State courts don't often have limitations on the kinds of things they can do with sentencing in the same way. And that's where most of these crimes would be prosecuted, right?
one could say the same thing about hate crime. I mean, it's like, wait, isn't
Right.
Any
What is
murder?
hate?
We
Anyway,
could have a
whatever.
much simpler
Yeah.
list of crimes that could be enhanced later after we've confirmed a crime happened at a very basic level without bringing in any of the hairy stuff.
That is the other thing.
Mhm.
Introductions of protected classes in America is really not a good thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what's happened. We have laws that only matter if you have a certain skin color or blood. It's really bad. But anyway, okay.
You can thank the Marxist Republicans for that one post Civil War.
Yep. Anyway, let's see here.
You had to protect the new voting class.
Yep. Well, I don't know. Whatever. What are the top 3 predictions on how the new SEC and Crypto Czar will affect startups over the next 4 years? Top three. Okay. How will it affect things? So give no more than 3. So I guess I have to start this time. Is that right? Top 3 predictions. I'm going to try to be positive for once about something, and because I will say all indicators are, at least with the current setup, with Ueda and Pierce at the helm, with the crypto task force, that they're cycling through cases. We're supremely confident that we're soon on the list to have something happen, and one way or another, indications are good. Now, when Atkins comes in, if he is confirmed, will that change anything? Hopefully not. Will the Crypto Czar start doing things other than having? By the way, that conference that they had, some frustrating things around that. They need to start talking about things other than financials, just treating it like a bank. But I think one prediction, I think it's going to be good for startups, especially crypto blockchain startups. I think things are moving forward fast. So sorry, I went over time, and now we go with William.
Okay, so I just jotted down. Well, we know now that meme coins are legal; they're not security, so they're going to explode. But also, I think the second point I'll say is utility development. There's going to be innovation where I think people are going to provide blockchain solutions that have real utility in our lives. And maybe people won't even know it's blockchain behind the scenes. That's what I'm hopeful for. Which that in turn is more adoption. So that's number 3. Number 4, I'm going to put a little bit of a dark cloud on it. Right now, if you look at that, the recent, Crypto Czar's commission, this kind of thing, we're talking about Bitcoin as part of the reserve. Well, guess what? What we have Trump surrounded with is a bunch of small blockers. And so Bitcoin and small blocking, and less liberty is the future.
Very good. Very good. You went over too, didn't you? Greg.
Okay, so with these guys, how they're going to do, or how the effect they're going to have on startups over the next 4 years is probably going to see a profusion of startups, right? There are going to be a ton of them, which is a great thing because for every 10 finance bros, there's going to be one builder who comes in and says, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to disrupt science. And we're going to fix the fucking problem with the capture of research, which is one that should have happened already, for fuck's sake. And ideas like that are going to flourish. They're going to be things that I think even stress these people, where they may be faced with a situation where they don't really like the idea of letting a thing happen that that will happen unless they find a way to stop it. And the SEC may even face pressure from the current administration to do something to tamp down on something that's really not properly in their domain. And I think that would be the biggest risk. But otherwise, I think it's positive.
Very good. Zach.
First off, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more initiatives that peg a lot of meme coin creations to the dollar, creating a new reserve away from petroleum. But a positive note, I think Dragon you're actually starting to see it, but Dragon's going to explode when the SEC finally reneges its bullshit. But I think you're also going to see a lot of new forks going off of existing cryptos. Like I can see Bitcoin Cash forking yet again. I can see Monero forking in some capacity. And you're going to see an explosion of decentralization or decentralized chains.
I like it. Sean.
Here comes the cloud. I totally disagree with Joe, and I am where I am. From what I've seen. So, especially with Crenshaw, he's really hitting it hard. In interviews that I've seen, he has this attitude where he acts, what's this crypto thing? I don't know. And then he speaks very clearly about certain things. I think meme coins will be destroyed because that is what crypto and blockchain is labeled as. I think this is the government. This is the way things are. It's insanity to do things over and over the same way and think you're going to have a different outcome. I think hopefully we'll have a better outcome. I think that real utility projects will start. I think that the overall, climate is better. But I think that because of meme coins and how we had those big ones hit, that's what the focus has been on. And I literally have heard people say, we want protection from this stuff.
Okay, can I add to my
Yeah. Now's the time.
I agree with you, Sean, in that the fourth item I listed was the small blockers that surround Trump, and Bitcoin is going to be, the king for a long time coming. And unfortunately, it's just digital gold now. It's not something we can use. So, but they're going to push stable coins as something we can use. And that's scary because we really already live in a digital money world. They already know how we're spending our money, where our money's coming from. But if we roll it into more of a, these stable coins, that is how the CBDC is really going to take hold. And I think that is going to be really evil and maybe become more of a predominant thing that stable coins becomes just part of our lives, not realizing that the next switch is the CBDC that's plugged into that.
Right.
Didn't they make
And
those
to
illegal?
add to
Like,
that
didn't they-
too, just real fast,
Yeah.
there is a lot of the stablecoin legislation that is extremely hateable,
Yes.
including like bars on projects that are algorithmic being created is included in one of the bills. Full compliance with the completely useless and wasteful AML KYC requirements that don't stop crime, but do conveniently provide a record to the IRS of who spent what. Like this shit that debanks people, that pulls people out of the existing financial system, that levels the playing field in favor of them, because to them it's leveling. It's not. We got to make sure that we advantage ourselves to the masses so things can be equal. This shit is baked into the cake with the stablecoin legislation. And what's a project to do? What's a project like Reflexer to do that makes Rye, where they have a really cool stablecoin that doesn't peg itself to any fucking thing. It just pegs itself to its own moving average price, so it has less volatility. And it does that through market incentives. Does that thing have to stop calling itself a stablecoin now? Like, where's the line for a stablecoin?
Yeah.
If you don't call
Honestly,
yourself
it's just-
a coin that's stable,
it's
you
the
say
same-
my coin has stability as a property.
It's the same reason they
regulating
don't.
software with financial tech. It's bullshit.
It's the same reason they don't want history on chain, because they won't be able to change the words.
Yeah.
So all they do is redefine stable or stable coin. All they have to do is there's an executive order against CDBCs, right? I think didn't they put that in? I mean,
Yeah,
in
there
which
is.
case, are they just going to rename it safety and freedom money? Is that what they're going to call it?
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, "Yay!"
Knowing Trump, yes.
Stability coins.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So,
they're
you
gonna
hit
be- they're gonna
something
be
that
America
I am
coin.
for I am brought up. I don't know if you guys remember, but when Doge exploded, the amount of arrogance and disgust that small blockers, maximalists, they were like, no, stop that. This is not a real crypto. This is a joke. Stop that. No. We say what has value.
Like
And the market doesn't
decentralized-
decide. They're like, how dare you decide? So I think that's one of the big things that's left with meme coins is that
Millions of Hayekians cried out. and then
it
were
literally
suddenly
is the
silenced.
community and the network that grows and becomes the value, and that's what's left. Everything else is kind of co-opted, and I mean, there's certain things that like the value is created by the utility, but
if there is utility,
some things have to be decided by the market and decided by the community and the network, and that's what they hate, because that's complete total freedom in an open market. They can't control that. So, but by the same token, if you put your money into Fartcoin, you can't really cry that it's gonna, if you put it in to make money, it's different.
Well,
But
there's also some fundamental principles of like currency that get broken by the idea of blockchain, like the ideas of the portability of it, right? We have a medium of exchange specifically, right, to have, and I'm refocused on medium of exchange after reading Vera's book. Highly recommended, by the way. Don't not read it, because it clarifies a whole bunch of baffle them with bullshit stuff out of existence, and sort of demystifies the idea of money again, which is fantastic, because I don't know if you guys remember, like back when we had that stupid redefinition of money against the pillars of it. it's not just a medium of exchange, guys. P.S. That's not enough to call it money. There's a store of value in it, and then there's a unit of account, and we have to have those two first before we can have the third one. Bullshit, right? That's actually bullshit. The other two are emergent properties of medium of exchange. So when we think about that in terms of crypto tokens, like a broader crypto token market, why do we need to have a medium of exchange that's specific at all? Why can't you trade chicken coin for wheat coin?
Because the bots will get you, man. You'll have 0 chickens coming out of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a question. I got a question about the small block, big block rivalry. What do you think, coming from the concept, the small blockers and the big blockers represent a Hayek versus Rothbardian take in the matter of crypto?
Yeah.
Big blockers are more about
it's an
freedom and
analogy.
liberty.
Yeah.
And the
blockers
root
are
of
more
why
about what's
crypto was
this
created.
thing supposed to be used for, and what if I wanted to use it for this other thing that is verboten by the small blockers. And that's the, in the end, it depends if you believe that the network should reduce its utility to a point that makes it so that supposedly it will, and it hasn't, by the way, it hasn't increased the decentralization by having smaller blocks. There aren't people.
No, it actually makes node running a problem, is what it does.
It's I don't know. It's so ridiculous. And you could tell, if you were an engineer watching the stuff back then, you would know that one side was making engineering arguments and showing evidence and trying to walk through, hey, this is what I believe. Here's why I believe it. And the other side was saying, you're horrible. That's a shit coin and blah, blah, blah. And you can't talk about anything other than this on the Bitcoin Reddit and, crazy stuff like that. And I'm still surprised that they won. But it's the power of number go up, and it probably, people now are used to being corralled, to be shepherded into a belief system that, oh yeah, of course, America's the land of the free, and it's the best place on earth, right, and things like that. So.
Well, that's still true. It's just we have a lot of problems. Just because we're at the top of the shit heap doesn't mean that we should try.
We're the most powerful nation on earth, that's for sure. I mean, it's like, and a lot can be said about that. That's a
and we also have the potential to change
doing things. But
is that true though? That America is still
untested,
that beacon of. I mean,
no,
you can.
The whole thing is
anywhere.
degraded. The whole thing is degraded. The whole apparatus, and all I'm saying is that of all of the places one can go that actually exist on planet Earth and have a chance of not being stamped out if they ever get popular, like the Freedom Cities.
Yeah.
The most likely place where we can see a renaissance is here.
Yeah. Well, and it's
well,
the Republic. It's the weird period between Republic and what comes after it.
I'd love to answer your question. About big blockers and small blockers and Hayek.
Oh, do it. Yeah.
The thing about Hayek was all a sort of problem of knowledge, right? And that would align with big blocker. That would, because big blockers were talking about escalating this limit that was originally put into place as a security measure, because you could hypothetically DDoS the network if you allowed blocks to be infinite, right? So they had to make them finite, but they made them finite around a point which was far enough up that you couldn't hurt the network by trying to hit it, but not so far up, or not so low rather, that it actually limits blocks or limits the size of blocks, right?
Okay.
The goal was to have as many legit transactions in a block as possible.
So what you're saying, what you're saying with the big block and aligning more with Hayek than small blockers, you're kind of saying like the Hayek principle in economics aligns like in that midway point between where big block and small block meet.
No, I'm saying that the big blockers had the right idea, because according to Hayek, because Hayek would have said there's no way we can know what that reasonable limit is unless we set it way up there, whereas the small blockers asserting through sort of a governance mechanism, very, very Rothbardian, right?
Mm-hmm.
This idea that we need some level of governance to provide rails to the markets. And this rail is the thing they're imposing with this lower block size limit, right? So very Rothbardian by comparison.
Okay.
So if you wanted to put the two on a plane, I would say, Hayek would have been a big blocker, and Rothbard would have been a small blocker.
I want to include one extra thing though that's it's open for debate, by the way, related to the limitation on block size. It's a very interesting thing that this thing came up with Dragon Chain, and it is admittedly very different than Bitcoin, right? But we had engineers. It was all engineers. We didn't have any politicians or marketing people arguing any of these points, right? We didn't have anyone banning anyone when we talked about this inside of Disney. But one of the questions came up, we can take any data, is unique to, especially in 2014, unique to blockchain, that there was no limit on what kind of payload you could throw onto a Dragon Chain transaction. And it came up, surely we need some limit. And it was really funny because the block size debate was we were maybe pre, but there was still some stuff going on at the time. And it came to mind that I said, yeah, sure. And I walked away from one of our engineers' cubes, and I thought to myself, and I was like, wait a minute. I turned around and went back and said, wait, actually, I don't think we need a limit, because for one thing, in a typical blockchain, some of the beauty of, like, say, Bitcoin Cash is that their algorithm is very open, that you can make different settings. You could on your node configure for a much larger block. The risk, though, and it's a beautiful thing, because there's a risk there that if you did that, one of the other nodes might be configured to not accept it, right? It's like, no, I'm not going to accept a block that big. You're fully welcome to put it on chain, but it's going to get forked and written over by the longer chain, because nobody's taken the bigger blocks if you put in like a gigantic block size. So there's some really interesting stuff there. And, with Dragon Chain, that's what we did. We said, no, you can arbitrarily put any size. You could put a freaking high resolution video on there, and the system would accept it. And the beauty is, because it's hybrid, that your level 1, your blockchain, which is by default centralized to you and controlled by you, you can decentralize it, but anyone using it or anyone working in your infrastructure is going to know what your requirements are for holding files that size and everything else that comes with it, the network, everything else. So it becomes a question of the network itself, whether it's acceptable. So and that was a lot of the issue I had with the small block debate later, was that it was arbitrary. It's like, why in fact, we can see that we can't
on how much data you can put on the network, and that doesn't make any sense in terms of like the line of laws around Moore's law, right? That say,
exactly.
Over any number of years, the bandwidth and the throughput and storage are going to grow.
Yep, they were making arguments that, in 5 or 10 years, that means you'd need this, and yet with all of what we know about tech,
Ray Kurzweil, P.S. Right? They'll help you figure out what technology actually expands like.
Storage becomes so cheap in time. And I had arguments with him too, that I was running a Bitcoin node on a little bitty freaking device at the time. It's like it's not, and that sorry, I should say, what was it? Bitcoin Unlimited, because there was Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin Unlimited, and all of those projects that were big block ended up becoming Bitcoin Cash. So anyway, it's an interesting thing. It's if you're into the technology, it is actually quite an interesting part of the technology itself. So, okay, let's see here. That was a good question. Okay, Legacy Zach 89. Should we trust the Trump administration not to use the blockchain and stablecoins as the new reserve for the fiat dollar? And I think Sean is first up in this, correct? Yeah, Sean, it's you. Here's your time. Sorry.
Administrations change all the time. Government stays the same.
It's very Chinese sentiment.
All right. Is that your okay? All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
That's
Zach.
the mic.
That should be a morality moment. Minute.
Yes.
Yep.
Or a Chinese proverb, honestly. I honestly think that there is a chance that the dollar gets pegged to some sort of stable coin or even Bitcoin itself, and then you're going to see plummet in value, and then they're going to have enough wiggle room to print even more money, and then the inflation's going to skyrocket, and then you got the protectionist policies of Trump that he wants to implement that's not going to do a whole lot to bring production to the United States because everybody's being taxed enough already. So it's actually going to hinder a lot of the potential that crypto has in the blockchain and a lot of potential for expanded production in the United States.
Very good. Greg.
I have a follow-up theory when we're done.
You are breaking rules, sir.
I said when we're done.
I know. It's Greg. Okay, I'll start your time.
Claim back my time. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so should we trust them not to use the blockchain as? So I have a hard time putting this. I feel like calling a reserve for a new reserve for the fiat dollar as a thing that anchors the dollar is sort of an inversion. I would say that the fiat dollar being anchored by some kind of crypto is sort of already happening because we have stable coins. And unless the policy is going to be to stamp out stable coins, this is exactly what's going to happen. So no, I don't think we should trust that won't happen.
Very good. William.
First 6 words. Should we trust the Trump administration? I'm just going to ask this question. Where's the Epstein list? Where are the JFK, MLK, RFK files? Why haven't they been released yet? So that might answer that part of it. Fiat dollar, new reserve, stable coins. If you think about the fiat dollar, we hate Tether, right? We always talk about how horrible Tether is. And it's not really backed and they're criminals. And well, guess what? The fiat dollar is the same thing. The fiat dollar and Tether are equals. They're almost identical. And so when you think in those terms, and if we're going to go down the stable coin route, which is ultimately going to lead to CBDCs, in my opinion, then I don't know. I don't want them to go down that road. Will they? Probably. How do we stop it? Privacy.
All right. My answer will be related to Zach's comment that the tariffs. I do agree with that. I think the solution is what? To get rid of that the taxes that are already here. They need to put. I don't mind a tariff because if it came with getting rid of the rest of the tax code, then we'll be taxed once. And I would also be okay with a sales tax because then you can control it. You can control when you spend it, and you don't have to file it. You don't have to spend a bunch of negative energy getting stuff on paper. And the other is anything they're doing, I think they should do more, even if they misstep, even if they break stuff. Why? I would rather have a bull in a china shop. That's why I supported Trump in the first place years ago, because, and I'm out of time, but this will be, I won't
go ahead and finish.
That essentially the way of the world, and what is this? There is no law, where, they keep building up laws. They keep building up things that you have to do if you're trying to just live or run a business in this country. And it's probably everywhere. It's ratcheted up. It seems to never go away. They add shit that won't ever go. It's going to be here for 100 years. And so they need to start, they killed USAID. Okay. But people didn't even know what that was. They need to kill the IRS. They need to kill the SEC. They need to kill the Fed. They need to kill all these things. What comes might break.
Which they're talking about.
But guess what? Then when the other side came back in, maybe they reinstitute the IRS if they could make that happen, right? Well, we have the internet now. they aren't going to be able to kill a bunch of the people on the Titanic this time, right? So how are they going to bring back the Fed? They need to get rid of it. Kill the ratchet, and we'll be in a better place, right?
That's what I wanted to. That's what I
yeah.
wanted to say. That was my follow-up. So once again, I am for AM and Joe. First thing is, should we trust the Trump administration? Trump, even his first administration, he was all about the dollar and breaking the Fed bad, the dollar good, want to make the dollar better because I have a lot of dollars. I believe that. I trust that. You know what I mean? I want my dollars to be worth more. Now, what if, this is the thing, they could peg they have total control over stablecoins because they made it. So a new frontier, we make it stablecoin backed by assets we own, completely legitimate, then make it a constitutional law that the dollar has to be backed by this stablecoin.
Yes.
All of that would be great. It would fix things. It's wonderful, but it all falls down to the beginning part. Is that what they really want to do? I think maybe they do because they have a bunch of dollars and it would make it worth more. It's kind of like when the government took everyone's gold and then made it so that gold wasn't just stuck at $35 and was, they became much richer. It's a way to do that, but in a more positive way for everybody because everybody has dollars.
Right. Well, I mean, and if you did that, like that thing I was suggesting, somebody should really build that stable coin I was talking about earlier. I really want to see someone peg at $1913 to a supply of stable coins.
I say you should make a meme coin.
That would be the shit because
I was thinking make a meme coin of it, man.
Because
that's it.
Oh, you could almost. I wonder if you could do it by meming it into existence. If you could just make a meme coin. It was like we're gonna go with
just make a meme coin. They're legal.
Just the education,
education
value of it would.
The sheer supply would have to be adjusted, or the overall supply would have to be adjusted down every time inflation happened, though.
Okay.
I think the issue, though, is anarchy is inevitable because it's natural, and even our governments understand that. So we're always going to be in a constant state of anarcho-tyranny. So they're making laws that implement chaos for the peasants, and they get away with doing whatever they damn well feel because they can, because they have power. So you have the anarchy going down to the smallest tier or the largest pool, really. But the real anarchy is up top where they are getting richer. They own and control and influence through their policies, but the policies don't matter to them. The laws don't matter to them. And so there really isn't any law because the laws only affect the people, the peasants. So
the law is just a power tool, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to add to my answer to Zach's
and that was
question.
really good.
It has something to, or no, Joe, is that okay?
No, I'm after you. I'm just putting my hand up.
Trump is there's a posting that happened in November of last year, and it's called the Mar-a-Lago Accords, and it's kind of like the Bretton Woods Accords and the Plaza Accords. It's the same thing, and the person who wrote that paper is talking about devaluating the dollar and devaluating the dollar to bring in more to create more jobs here from an industrial base and manufacturing base. And it's also to create a high inflation to inflate our way out of our debt. This individual who wrote this paper is close to Trump and is now the chief financial advisor for Trump on the economy. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Lisa and I did a show about it 2 weeks ago. And everyone's talking about Doge, but no one's talking about the devaluation of the dollar. And this is quite honestly probably Trump's plan, and it goes with the tariff fights. So
I mean, it would make sense.
John was saying.
Yeah, it would make sense to actually use inflation to your advantage because all inflation, when you increase the money supply and then you also bring in excessive tax through the consumption means of the tariff, you're devaluing that dollar, and with that, the debt is still the same. It's the interest. So you're just basically expanding the interest, and what's that going to do? That's going to collapse the whole system that needs that interest to continue their predatory ways. So it would actually make sense to use.
Joe, you're next. Right?
No, I'm on a passes.
The elites, what they've done is they've been just printed up worthless paper to buy real assets like BlackRock and
That's
all
what
the housing and everything, so that in the end, everyone's been killing each other and committing crimes already to get this worthless paper, and in the end they just laugh and say, "Ha, it's worthless paper. Everything's collapsed. We own all the real stuff."
Yeah.
And it would be a kind of a way to flip it, to make it where like, hey, you've gotten rid of all your paper. You have all this. You've overpaid for houses and for all this stuff, thinking that you're gonna dump this worthless paper. Now we've made the worthless paper worth something. And now you're gonna but I mean, it would make housing crash and everything crash because it would go against what the overall plan of evil was. But it would I think it would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing to note too is how the Fed actually creates money, right? What they're doing is they're buying in newly created dollars, treasury bonds, and this is how they fund government operations over revenues, right? Is just with printed money. That's how printed money gets into the real economy. It's not circuit 2 money. It's just straight. The government needs a loan, which they borrow from the Fed, and we pay them our interest, right? That debt service goes to those guys' pockets. It's bigger than the defense budget, for fuck's sake. How many of them are there?
Yeah.
This is the looting process.
So on the high level, they're converting it all into hard assets, and in the middle level, with all of the leaders that we know are cheering it on, because with the Fed they can do unlimited money, and what happens to that money? It's funneled into pockets all over the place. So
well, I mean, the crazy thing about all this is the Fed still manages to make losses despite they're the recipients of our annual debt service.
Yeah, it's crazy world. Okay, next question. I am stablecoins become CBDCs.
I'm going to ask an audible here. Since we just talked stablecoins kind of to death, we already answered this question. Maybe we just read the question, and move on to the next one.
We know David Sachs is pushing for stablecoin legislation as Crypto Czar in the Russian form, right? Could his real agenda be to quietly lay the groundwork for a U.S.-backed CBDC disguised as a private stablecoin framework? It seems like he's effectively turning tools like USDC or Tether into Trojan horses for government control over blockchain finance. Yep. I don't know. You guys are going to be cursing the bankers as much as, and not just the crypto bankers, the junior bankers, as much as I have. I know I can feel it coming. It's just this whole thing. Everything is like, why didn't I just go into banking as a kid, right? Why is my dream job? I'm going to be a banker.
Because you weren't a J.
Fools. All right. I am. Will he get confirmed? I don't know. That's not a very flattering picture you chose.
It's hard to find a good angle on the man.
I've never seen it. Anyway,
he's a man of character.
Question: what challenges might Paul Atkins face in getting confirmed, and how could delays affect blockchain markets? And will he get confirmed? Okay, so I can't remember what order we went. Am I first this time?
Maybe, or I'll go first.
No, I mean, I'll say, challenges would be, Warren will probably be there, right? She's probably one of them. So she won't probably give him the questions in advance like she would with Gensler all the time. And, you mentioned,
she might.
What's his name with the one eye before? He and Warren are kind of, pretty sloppy on their part, but ways to tell what the bad guys want, essentially. Anything that they push for is from the talking points, from whatever they're told that they want to push. And I would say that's probably the biggest challenge he'll face are people like that, but I don't know much about his background. So who knows? I think I've heard that he will be a pretty decent person to do it based upon what he stands for. So, William.
Well, his daughter married Madoff. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I think he's going to get confirmed. They're going to do the Dog and Pony Show, and Elizabeth Warren and everybody else. You mean to tell me that you support these meme coins, that they're not securities, or whatever the kind of thing is for the show? But he's already had the position before into the bushes, and I think if he's kept his nose clean since that point, not traveled to any Caribbean islands, then there's a good chance that he will be confirmed. Just remember, though, he was a regulator. He believes in government regulations. He will continue to be a government regulator and believe in those, things. And so what's the overturned thing? The Chevron doctrine. He's still going to do policies despite that ruling. I yield the rest.
Yep. Okay. Sorry, I didn't do that. Okay. Greg.
I think the biggest risk he faces is one we've already talked about to a certain degree. And by the way, just had a little snicker when I saw Paul Atkins' face, or heard it rather, because I mentally inserted an apostrophe. I was like, yeah, what is up with his face? He's a weird looking dude, but setting that aside, I don't think that will affect his chances. I just think the biggest problem is an ongoing delay. I think what we're going to see is a deprioritization of Atkins as a way to deprioritize meaningful movement in the crypto unraveling of bullshit that needs to happen at the SEC. And and the longer that it takes to get him confirmed, the longer it takes to get any of the crypto czar's recommendations in place, or anybody's recommendations in place, the longer it takes to affect the markets. So I think the delay means status quo, and I think that's how markets are likely to be effective.
Very good. Zach.
He's definitely going to get confirmed. It's all theater anyway, so it's all a work. So you're going to get Warren's going to get her licks in. Sanders will probably get his licks in if he's part of a proceeding. I assume, yes. But it's all theater. He'll still get confirmed. As far as like the delay effect, I think we're already seeing that with how volatile the market is right now, and you're starting to see like Bitcoin decline. But at the same time, I think that has more to do with just how the blockchain market has been. I mean, with every hit peak from like 2017, 2020, 2022. So, and looking at what the market is doing right now, it's inevitable. It's going to hit a downturn, but there is an anomaly. It's probably going to, that where it might stabilize anyways, but he's getting confirmed.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's see here. Sean.
Pretty much ditto. It's theater. He'll go through the paces, but it's a two-party system. One party has the votes. He'll get confirmed. Yeah. I am, if you step back on more of a conspiracy kind of level, it does. Everyone keeps talking about the delay effect, but what I've been seeing is people like Crenshaw, Warren, kind of pushing it more to the forefront. So I don't know if I trust the guy now, because they're wanting to get this done, and he will get through. So that's a little bit of a red flag, but we'll see.
Okay, and so after I would like to add something that it's interesting, actually kind of a surprise, but it's a commendable thing that with whatever's going on in the administration, that the SEC was either allowed or how do I say, like it was a promoted thing or something, that they created a task force and they started drilling down in. They've already, released multiple projects from obviously ridiculous regulatory issues. And, and I know our project is on that list, and I know it's coming. And so I'm quite happy that they didn't wait. I was worried, oh, shoot, they're going to wait for confirmation. We're going to talk like June or July or some crazy thing. But as it is, they're doing what I would actually think is their job. It seems like it's probably not like, the old American Republic and the way that they might feel a duty to do things, but they're at least doing things.
Do you think maybe that's why Crenshaw and people like Warren want to get this guy in?
Possibly,
slow it
like
down?
it might be the same thing. Maybe they think he'll slow it down. Maybe they know something we don't know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, frankly, if you could have people like Hester Pierce who know, what's happened over her during her terms there, it's maybe you would rather just have those people instead of somebody else who might come in and slow stuff down or throw a wrench in what they're doing. So let's get the Dragon Chain case off the books before he comes in. And, I'll still give him credit for being there, whatever. It's just, we need to make this happen faster. So anyway, I don't know. Anybody else have anything that they want to add to that? Okay, good.
We got to be quick. Rapid fire on the next one.
All right.
I love the graphic here though.
Yep. Gary, pencil neck Gary, googly eyes. How will Paul Atkinson's nomination as SEC chairman impact the regulatory approach to blockchain and cryptocurrencies? This is a great question. From IM4AM, and it's Sean gets to go first.
Well, hopefully it'll just make it get started. I mean, that was really Gensler's kind of legacy, is that passing the buck on it. It's like, let's err on the side of caution and, kind of lock this up because we don't know about it. We're learning. And that was it. He just put it off. Meanwhile, the whole world's like, what are you doing, U.S.? We want to, follow suit. So we don't want to do something that's going to piss you off. So hopefully, which, like you said, they've started the task force. It'll actually get moving.
I love it. All right, Zach.
I'm going to just say ditto on that. Let's just get it moving. It's slow and steady is not the game here. Like, you need to, let's work something out. Let's figure out what we're going to do. I mean, if it's negative, it's negative. If it's negative in the direction that he wants to go, then that is perfect for the crypto anarchists and the agorists, because we're still going to innovate anyways, right? Within that sphere. But let's just get it moving and then show the world that we actually mean business when it comes to the blockchain and crypto.
Very good, Greg.
I believe that what it's going to do is properly recontextualize crypto within the sphere of what they are actually supposed to be regulating, right? Like there's a huge fucking office, bigger than any of their other enforcement offices, dedicated to targeting crypto projects under the presumption that every token is a security, right? This is still less than 1% of the entire market space they're supposed to be regulating, which is derivatives, right? And this focus on cryptocurrency has always been inappropriately large. So my hope is that, one, they'll wind things down and target on only regulating crypto projects that are actively trying to be securities on the blockchain, because those do fall under their purview pretty reasonably. But but to get out of the rest of it and wind down the effort so they can refocus on doing their actual job, which is regulating securities.
Love it. Hopefully, good hope there. William.
That's exactly where I was going to go, Greg. Was blockchain, let's face it, is a small fraction of the total equity market if you include blockchain into it. And so there are larger scams and there are larger issues on Wall Street and elsewhere, where I think need attention, need focus, if you will, if we're going to go down the regulatory path. That's where they need to look at. And I'm hoping that because blockchain is much smaller, that they'll go after the big fry and the big fish. And, a good point here too on the big fish is, how about validating all of the shares that are there? Have they been duplicated? Are there too many shares for a particular company?
How many times have shadow banks rehypothecated shit?
Yes. How about auditing that? That's where the real crime is.
Yep. Okay. And I'm going to say, I don't know precisely how they are intending to work this. The task force has some language that they're trying to put together a regulatory framework, right? And so I'll break some news here, right? So I've said in the past we've requested 2 meetings. We've not gotten them. I did, however, get an email from some staffer about a different. I think I posted from Lucius some pretty decent answer to the questions we care about. Many questions that Hester Pierce had on her article don't apply to what I care about or what I do, or what Dragon Chain does. So, but one way or another, I provided that, and their form made it so that it was too hard to read or something. And so I posted it again. They said, "Oh, still, can you maybe output a PDF and upload it?" So I did that. So we got it through finally. But I asked them, and they said, "Well, not everybody's being given a meeting, and there's no acknowledgement, obviously, or to know when they've accepted your request." But the problem I see is if they're trying to set up a regulatory framework, which might be put in place if Congress, imagine this, doesn't act, that means this regulatory framework will be what they use. And the issue I have with it, I don't see any evidence that they are looking at anything other than as financial. And we really need to consider utility, and we need to consider non-financial use cases within their framework or out of their framework. They need to be aware of these things. And I don't know, frankly, if even someone like Hester has that knowledge that, I don't know. They might all think that it's financial. So that's my biggest concern. And I'm going to try again with a more in-depth. I gave a pretty good agenda, but I tried to keep it simple, right? I don't want them to think that I'm going to be on there for an hour and a half. I said, okay, I'll keep it simple. And they're saying, they were telling me something maybe more thorough. And who knows who was answering me? They didn't have a signature on it. So it could be some dude in India. I have no freaking clue. But anyway, so that is the last question. So now we move on to what? Oh, we could talk more about this first if you guys have anything else.
How about the ceasefire? That seems to be in the news of late. Or the tariffs with Canada.
Which war?
Those are my two items.
Which war?
I'm really excited about the, and I believe, and my friends tell me I'm nuts, I believe in the next 2 years that Alberta will be the state of the United States. Maybe a territory. They want to be a territory in a sovereign country, but I think Trump wants him to be a state so that he has more control.
All right. Do they have oil?
They have a
shit ton of oil.
They run Canada, like all of the Ontario and all of the. That's why they want to leave, because they're the tit that all of Canada's socialism sucks on.
Yeah, Alberta is logging, natural gas, oil, like all sorts of.
Let's move all the Californians to Alberta. We can still tell them it's still, let's move all the Californians to Alberta and all the Albertans to California. Did you do that?
No, to Ottawa. We want to send them to Ottawa or Toronto.
Hearing this guy talk,
okay,
it was like I could feel exactly what he meant. That was like from a couple of years ago. He said, Albertans don't feel like Canadians. We're not Canadians anymore because Canada isn't Canada. And it hasn't been for years.
How about America then?
That's the thing. I was thinking that's how we all felt, I would consider myself a Texan first when I looked at how the country was like going in a direction. And I think that's how those people are. And they see a lifeline and they're like, no, we're going to leave. We have something of massive value and we can become part of,
I will say this for Albertans, that they have at least a fairly lower number of red heifer merchants than you guys do in Texas. So in the very least.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
No, another thing that's that I've read like locally, pertaining towards succession is there's a bunch of counties in Illinois that have actually, they're either working on it or they've passed certain resolutions for succession from Illinois, and Indiana is potentially looking at admitting them.
Wow.
Well, Oregon's going to
Yeah.
happen. Well, I don't know. Might not now, but it was about to be approved. I think if Kamala would have won, it would definitely have been pushed through. Because
and having
Idaho
lived in
wants
Indiana,
them, and Oregon doesn't want them because they're a burden on Oregon, but they would be a boom to Idaho. So money wise, neither side wants to fight.
Yeah.
Well, Indiana, as I understand it, the areas they're talking about coming in are very, like if you want to talk about a metaphor, it's sort of like the Donbass region is very ethnically Russian, and
Yes.
the regions coming in from Illinois to Indiana are very Indiana.
Hoosier. They're very Hoosier.
Yeah, exactly. So it's to me, having lived there for a while, it actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what else? What was the other one?
What about the ceasefire?
Horrible host. Yeah, the ceasefire, which is the Ukrainian ceasefire. I have not the past few days. I've tried to stay out of the news, so I don't know.
What I understand is that the meeting that took place in Riyadh with who's Rubio, our Secretary of State now, and I guess the folks in Ukraine, that delegation, came up with a ceasefire. However, we would still supply arms to Ukraine. How is that possible?
I don't know.
I want to get you guys
Really
to
Well, you know what we should do?
For a while. Trump says, I'm going to do this, needs to happen. And then Mexico, Canada, Ukraine, Germany, whatever country you want to pick, they come out and they say, no, we're badasses, fuck the U.S., blah, blah. But then literally 24 to 48 hours, they bend the knee. And why do they do? It's not once or twice. It's every single time. The Mexico chick came out and she's like, screw U.S., we're Mexico, we're a sovereign country. And then less than 48 hours, Canada, Trudeau did the same thing. He cried. So, I mean, what's the reason for that?
I don't know. It's all just a stupid game. I don't know.
This meme just needs a JD face on Zelensky.
This is awesome. I hadn't seen this one before.
That one's great. Again, another meme. The JD face needs to be on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
This is why it's ridiculous that they ever tried to make AI not able to do satire. Because it's its most important use case, clearly.
Yeah.
Back to the Ukraine ceasefire. Considering it's in Riyadh, what they should have done was they should wait till Crown Jewel I think it's in May, and then that way they can just have a peace talk up in the suite booth during a wrestling match.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, what else?
Yes.
It is a good thing. Epstein list, JFK files. People are at least talking about the fact that we haven't seen what we're supposed to have seen by now, right?
People are pissed.
I wanted to throw in a few things,
just so you know,
about the Ukraine situation too. If you guys don't mind,
okay, go for it.
Revert back to that one. So I made a joke instead of saying something substantive, so I want to add something substantive. The question that I have is, do you think the reason they got Zelensky to agree to a peace deal was because of the arms supply thing?
Say that again.
Do you think that was a card they played and said, like, okay, we'll try to get that?
Yeah. I think that's what Ukraine is trying to do. I don't think the American delegation really believes this is going to happen with that proposal.
Oh, that's not a ceasefire. That's just us informally funding a shadow war instead of formally funding an overt.
Right. And it's sad because the war does need to end.
Right. And also, like,
it's a
seriously, why are
Slavic
we
civil
sending
war,
funds?
in my opinion.
Why are we talking about sending funds? Like, for the fuck of sake. Like, isn't that what this is all about? Let's stop sending money.
It keeps the military complex moving.
They need fire trucks in San Francisco still. That city is fucked next if LA is any pattern.
I don't. Yeah, it's just sad. It's sad because it's unnecessary at this point. Zelensky is not even the. Well, some are going to argue that he's still the president or whatever because elections were suspended because of wartime. But on the other hand, he's not. And so, can Putin, in good faith, sign a peace treaty with Zelensky if he's not really the leader? And now Europe wants to go to war with this. Now the European people don't, but the European EU people and leaders of the various countries want to.
Well, isn't France mobilizing?
Yeah, they blocked the vote of the Romanian people. They already voted for their next prime minister, and that was thrown out by the EU.
Europe is nuts, man. Europe is nuts.
Yeah.
It's
now there was
Germany is especially weird.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're talking about rearming Germany, and it's very
now
very alarming.
Yeah. I have a meme for that somewhere in here. I do.
Trump supposedly is going to enact or threatening a 200% tariff on Europe now. That broke
200%
this morning.
What was the Python line?
I
propose that we tax all foreigners living abroad, and then that would be the same. Anyway,
the shitty part about tariffs is that's not who pays them. But
I know.
If we got rid of the IRS, I'd probably be okay with the trade-off.
But get rid of the IRS.
Yeah.
Do tariffs, or get rid of the IRS, do national sales tax, and
that would be the best one.
Limits.
That one would actually sustain itself past the point when
get rid of the Federal Reserve
on board to U.S.
I do understand the tariffs, though. In terms, there are a few points that I don't understand about them, but at least on the manufacturing side, if they could get rid of the other taxes, if it was a decent place to do business in the world, and you had those tariffs in, you would have, it might improve.
Well,
Mar-a-Lago Accords, everybody.
Yeah,
Mar-a-Lago
history
Accords,
is on our side with the tariff issue. As much as protectionism is very loathing, there was an income tax that was upheld during the war. Like 11 years later, they ended the income tax, ruled it unconstitutional, and that got rid of the income tax, and then they pushed more protectionism, and the United States was, for the most part, latter half of the 19th century into the 20th century, was able to build a little bit more industrialist and become a world stage power economically. But it kind of still, the trade-off was it still chose winners and losers of who could operate.
Yep. All right. What else? What other? When we're coming.
What do y'all think about
there's the Massey
the real chance that California could flip?
The Massey one is worth talking about because that's a crazy thing that Trump.
That was a faux pas.
Oh, I guess.
Wow. He called
split.
to primary match. Well, he's had
multiple
posts since then, still calling it out.
But 70% of MAGA say no.
Yeah.
They want to stick with Massey.
Yeah. So you get to see will Trump be embarrassed by the fact that it's not popular because he doesn't like doing unpopular stuff, or is the $200 million from certain forces enough to push back and we need to get rid of Massey, the ADL and so on.
You can play that Rachel Maddow clip if you want to get it.
We're gonna have
but what do you guys think about California
flipping for elected officials
to red? Everyone is talking about the lowest approval rating ever, and they're talking about running Kamala Harris as the Democrat.
Yeah, it'll flip purple. It's gonna flip purple.
It's gonna flip purple. And the thing about California is you'd be surprised how much red is on the outskirts of the city.
For governor, if they get a Republican governor and get Newsom out, I think that's like another huge blow.
But Sean, the thing is that's just like Portland versus Oregon. Portland controls the House and the Senate in Oregon. Well, it's the same is true for the House and Senate in California by the San Francisco or Bay Area, shall we say, and LA County. And you throw San Diego into that mix.
That is true, but California has
do much.
California
AI
has
panel recently.
I'll play this real quick. What's that?
California has a great system though that is starting in Huntington Beach.
All right, I'll play this quick. We're gonna run out of time.
Play this quick, and then we'll go in our outro.
I should say I'm by no means a crypto expert. I'm not going to give you a lecture on blockchain or meme coins or any of that. I don't know, and B, I don't care.
Right.
But I do think it's worth looking at this crypto thing a little bit, only because it is a deeply, deeply old-fashioned, simple scam at this point, which points right to the White House.
Not interested, sir. Anyways, here's how to tell if your sign is cheap.
No means a crypto.
She literally says, "I don't know anything. I'm stupid. I'm ignorant." But
these are the points I'm paid to say.
Yeah,
so.
Right. I'm just going to regurgitate this.
I wonder how much she would go for if she wanted to come over to Retard News. We'd like to have you, Rachel.
Yes.
Oh, that would be
all right. Answers to money.
All right, you want to go ahead and start? We have 9 minutes left.
Yeah, we got it.
Sean, what is up this week? What's going on?
Just check me out. Please subscribe. Got the new crypto meme review out. Yeah, that's about it. Lisa's been super busy, so we haven't been doing True Tuesdays. Hopefully, she'll be back next week, so we'll get that done. That's all.
Right on, Zach.
Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, the League of Extraordinary Friends is back at it for our third month. We're going to be talking about, it'll be over on Mark Pohl's channel, Knocked Conscious, both Rumble and YouTube, as well as X. And we'll be talking about leadership and why human beings reflect between followers and leaders, what makes a leader, and human hierarchies. So, and then tomorrow at 11 a.m., also on X and YouTube for the Legacy Right, me and Andrew are going to dive into Vices Are Not Crimes by Lysander Spooner.
Very good. Greg.
It's a good one. Well, this week, I think I just want to take a moment and refocus on Roman Storm for a second, and his situation is still not alleviated. There literally is still a case against the guy. So interesting thing is, like a month and a half ago or so, the Tornado Cash project itself was deemed to have been illegally sanctioned. Like they're not. You can't outlaw the smart contracts. So this guy's being prosecuted for something he built that is now deemed constitutionally protected, but by nature of the two separate proceedings, that was a civil case started by someone in crypto. Or someone's in crypto. The prosecution persists, even though the thing he's being prosecuted for ostensibly is constitutionally protected. This is the neat thing of separation of founder and project when it comes to blockchain that allowed for that to exist. But it exists right now. So if you see an opportunity to put some pressure on anybody for let's stop doing this, Roman Storm still needs your help.
Very good. Very good. William.
Well, guess what I did last night, everyone? I dropped a video about Den.Social last night on the Den.Social YouTube channel. And I answer what makes Den.Social unique. In the video, I mentioned that we have a prediction market and we have a social media site, and we combine them, and then it's supported by a blockchain, which is Dragon Chain. And so it's a prediction market on posting. And I think it was pretty good. You guys can take a look at it and see what you think. So I'm talking to a lot of folks in India, believe it or not, and I needed to get something out there that was simple to explain what Den.Social is. So check out the video on Den.Social on YouTube. Today, 2 p.m., Den.Dow meeting.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so for me, keep paying attention. We know there's something's going to happen in the Dragon Chain case. It's we know it's going to happen. We just don't know timing and stuff. So just keep watching. And I'm going to be out next week to visit family. And yet the Emperor has graciously volunteered to take over Super Happy Dragon Lucky and this show for next week. So I probably won't be here unless something happens. I'll be online and stuff. So when he has any questions, I can always be there. But if something does happen, I'll either do something live or I'll show up on a stream with William and Super Happy or something. So make sure you're watching. But either way, good things ahead, right? Always play the frog game. It's a good game, and we will. We'll see you next week. Let's see here. Do I have it listed? Next week is blockchain project life cycles and project reincarnation or rebranding. That's an interesting one for several reasons. So thanks, everybody. And make sure you get in and get a blockchain-related question or topic of your choice posted on that episode. Sooner the better. Make sure you share this episode so everybody gets more lots so we can take over the roundtable and change everything. One of us should try to do some hostile attack on it, actually, right? It's like I'm gonna totally change the way the roundtable works. It'd be fun. Okay.
Roundtable red teaming. Do it.
There we go. Why not?
And by Dragon.
Yes. Okay. All right. So anything else before we go? I think that's everything. We fit it within the 2-hour mark.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you again next week, right? Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A doctrinal approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible. You see it now?
Mics are on. Hot mics. Beware.
Hot mics.
Hello.